Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me once again is Behnam Ben Taleblu, Senior Director of the FDD's Iran program. Behnam, thank you so much for joining me.
So good to see you again, Brittany. Thank you.
It is good to see you and get your expertise and perspective on what we're seeing play out in Iran right now, because protests throughout the country have sprung up over the past 2 weeks over the economy and overall against the regime. And as a result, reports indicate that at least 2,000 people have been killed so far because of these protests. Those reports also indicate that number could be a lot higher. Thousands more have been arrested. So to start off the conversation, can you talk to us about the moment Iran is in right now?
Sure. So the moment the Islamic Republic is in right now is no doubt historic. This is the most significant street protest vector of domestic, social, political pressure from the population against this regime in the 46, 47-year history of the Islamic Republic. As you know, there's been protests against the Islamic Republic before over environmental issues, political issues, social issues. But for the past 8 or 9 years, what we've seen is a drift and a change in the direction of those protests. No longer are people protesting in favor of a particular government candidate. No longer are people protesting in favor or against a particular government policy. For the past 8, 9, even 10 years, you've seen just protests against the regime in its entirety. And you've seen the protests take on an increasingly more nationalist tone and tenor against the Islamist regime. You've seen the protests develop a greater demography, a more diverse demography, a wider geography of protesters. A different kind of protester constituent is at the forefront protesting against this regime. And so that's why really what we're witnessing now is the latest installation, perhaps even the final chapter, who knows, it's too soon to tell, of the battle for power in Iran between the state and the street.
And why are you seeing this historic nature right now? Have Iranians always felt this level of anger toward the regime, or has it just been building over the past, as you said, 8 to 10 years? Do they feel just this anger paired with perhaps the regime's looking weaker over what we've seen in the last 6 months to a year? What does that really look like for them?
I think you hit the nail right on the head, Brittany, because the population has been suffering economic crises after environmental crises due to the regime's policies and mismanagement. And there's been a mounting sense of anger, frustration, dislocation, and dispossession, such that now you even see slogans about just wholesale disgust with the regime in its entirety. But what makes this protest round different is that we're also hearing now among protesters not what they're against, but what they're for. There's, again, I mentioned that increasing nationalist tone and tenor. They are not rallying around the regime's flag, but many are rallying around the son of the former king of Iran, Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. His name has been chanted increasingly in these protests as a nationalist foil, again, against that Islamist regime. That draws a sharp contrast. What also is worth noting here is that these protests come against the backdrop of the 12-day war between America, Israel, and Iran, when really external analysts saw that the Ayatollah had no clothes militarily, but so too did internal, members of the dissident community, in Iranians themselves, who wanted change in its entirety. And they saw that this regime that had been armed to the teeth lost battle after battle after battle, could not provide for their own security, and instead had developed this gigantic national security state, not to win abroad, not to defend the homeland, not to defend their soil, but to really repress the population. So when the population saw the Ayatollah had no clothes, when they had these lingering and mounting grievances, when they had a drastically different ideology than the regime, of course it was going to be a matter of when rather than if the next round of protests would begin.